Hello, my name's Sophie Wright. I'm a professional chef and food writer, as well as the Easy Cheesy Chef Ambassador. There are over 1,000 different varieties of French goat's cheese, and in front of me here on my board I have just a few of those. They range in all different shapes and sizes, from a large log to a smaller log that's been matured in ash, to a pyramid shape, to a bigger pyramid, to ones that are slightly more matured and have a stronger flavour and texture. You can get really lovely soft cheeses, or ones that are more crumbly inside because they are slightly older and they've been matured. So it's really down to your taste. Now, Chèvre or French goat's cheese is a wonderful ingredient and great thing to have in your fridge at home, and lots of different ways of cooking with it. So this cheese here is a French goat's cheese log. This cheese is a lovely crumbly French goat's cheese, and it's got a rind on it, which if you leave it on will mature. You can eat the rind and it's very tasty, but I tend to just use the flesh of the cheese, which is very crumbly and has a very smooth finish. It's great in sauces, and that's one of the recipes that I've created for you, with cauliflower cheese, which is beautiful. You can also crumble it on top of pizzas, have it in sandwiches or crumbled over salads. It's also lovely just sliced like this on a tray and grilled. So it's very versatile, and it's probably a cheese that if you've had French goat's cheese before, it probably would have been this one. And I'm going to show you a recipe now which is called cauliflower cheese with French goat's cheese log. It's a recipe that some of you might have made before in a very similar way, but we're going to use French goat's cheese log as our cheese in this recipe. So I'll just take you through the ingredients. I've got a cauliflower, just a medium-sized cauliflower, a pint of milk or 600 mils of milk. I've got 25 grams of flour, 25 grams of butter, 150 grams of French goat's cheese log, 1 egg, of which we're just going to use the yolk, a couple of tablespoons of breadcrumbs just to sprinkle on top, teaspoon of Dijon mustard, and some nutmeg. Right, so the first stage of this recipe, we have to cook our cauliflower. We're just going to use the tip of your knife and then just break them off. Just drop them into your boiling water, and don't put a lid on top, just leave it to boil for 12 minutes or so, and then when it's cooked we'll drain it and I'll show you how to make our sauce. So while your cauliflower is cooking, you can make your cheese sauce. So just in a saucepan, put it on a low heat, and we need to make a basic roux, which is flour, butter and milk. So 25 grams of butter into your pan. Now it's really important that this butter melts before we add in our flour. So I've used 25 grams of butter here, so I'll again use 25 grams of flour. Okay, so now the butter's starting to bubble, you can put in our flour and stir it as quickly as you can until you make a paste. Now the paste is the base of your sauce. This is what's going to make your cheese sauce nice and thick. I'm happy with that now. So the trick is always add cold milk to a hot roux or hot milk to a cold roux. Never add hot milk to this because it will go lumpy. So make a paste like that, give it a good mix, and as it starts to bubble, the bubbles will knock out all of those lumps. Right, and now in with our last bit of milk, and then ideally you'd like to let that just simmer 8 to 10 minutes. Right, as that's simmering, let's just check our cauliflower. Just take a little knife and make sure that it's nice and tender, which this is. At this stage we can start to add the other ingredients into our cheese sauce. Most importantly, we've got our French goat's cheese log. Now this is a fantastic cheese that works really well. So many different recipes, and it's fantastic in sauces, so I'm just crumbling it in, but it's also great on tartlets, on pizzas, paninis, ciabattas, just crumbled over the top of salads. Now at this stage you really might want to switch to a whisk just to make sure that it's all nice and smooth. And the cheese will obviously start to thicken the sauce. It's a very mild French goat's cheese. It's not overly powerful. The longer you leave it, the more mature it will get. But for this particular purpose, I think a younger one is nicer. So that's melting in there nicely. Now I've got some Dijon mustard. It just adds a little kick. It's quite classic to put nutmeg in a cheese sauce. It really brings all the flavours out quite nicely. Quite powerful, so you don't need very much. Right, once your heat is off, you need to add an egg yolk. And what this does is it's going to really richen the sauce, and it'll also make your cauliflower cheese brown really nicely on top. Crack it. Use the shell to separate the white from the yolk. And it's really important at this stage that your sauce is off the heat, because if you add an egg yolk into a bubbling sauce, it could split. So just turn it off completely, drop it in, and then whisk it. And that will really richen the sauce. So that's your sauce made. Take the pan that you cooked your cauliflower in and put it back in there. So it's all nicely drained now. And just pour over some of the sauce. Take your spoon again and just coat it so that every bit of cauliflower has got a nice bit of sauce on top. And then take your gratin dish, or whatever it is you're going to be baking in, and just arrange the cauliflower in there. Now, I like to have all the florets top side up, because they, you know, as they brown, you get nice little bumpy bits on top. So you get some brown bits, some that are not, which is quite pretty. And then just finish off with a final drizzle of your sauce over the top. And then finish it off with some breadcrumbs. And then that goes into a preheated oven at 180 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes until it's all nice and golden brown on top. Right, so my cauliflower cheese has had 35 minutes in the oven and it's now golden brown and bubbling. So we'll take it out. So I'd serve that with a roast dinner, I suppose, if you like, or just a nice bit of fish. Put it on the table like so and enjoy. For more delicious French goat cheese recipes, go to our website, www.frenchgoatcheese.com.